A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of News First Weekend, coming to you live from our News1st studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
President says he will not disregard any reasonable request made by the nursing service. Minister of Health calls on the two main nursing associations to work with the government. Minister Sujiva Senasinghe expresses his concerns. Sri Lanka to receive benefits of GSP Plus in 2 weeks. A statement by Deputy Minister Harsha De Silva. A massive cyber attack affects 99 countries.
And now the stories in detail. President Maithripala Sirisena has affirmed that he will not disregard any reasonable request made by the nursing service. The President was speaking at an event held at Royal College Colombo to coincide with International Nurses Day. The event was organised by the Public Services United Nurses Union. President Sirisena presented tokens of appreciation to retired nurses.
Our aspiration is to create a nursing service which is law-abiding and will carry out the respective duties assigned. However, when we look back at the endeavours undertaken, we cannot be satisfied, and neither can you. The nursing service is diminishing. I cannot understand why.
We may
have differences in opinions, but we cannot go against the course of this world. People will raise red placards and chant slogans, but those will not be accepted by the people. Therefore, the future of nursing is based on the path taken by the global nursing fraternity. The government has established a nursing program at the medical faculty in Sri Jayawardhanapura comprising of 17 wards. We will create another 14 wards together with a dormitory and facilities for welfare and sports. I have also spoken with the Vice Chancellor of the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura to establish separate faculties for allied health sciences and professions supplementary to medicine. Based on the agreement reached, the President will lay the foundation stone for that. When the nursing service was divided back then, you never had requests. That is why I say, unite. Then you will have a stronger trade union and we will be able to reach better decisions. The Venerable Thero might have a different opinion in politics, but the government is committed to develop the nursing service. The political agenda the two main unions follow does not matter. If you join with us, we will be able to do everything that is required to develop the nursing service. I am not reluctant to fulfill the requests made by the nursing service. That needs to be made clear. When I was the Minister of Health, I stood by your requests and demands. I must make it clear that I stand by my word as President today. You are well aware of the persons who were against this. I pray that those persons will come to an understanding where they will not oppose this anymore. In his comments, the Venerable Thero said the nursing service is falling apart. Unfortunately, I cannot accept that. There are around 30,000 people engaged in this service and the citizens have accepted that it is a good service. The government does too. Has the service fallen apart? The question is on the conscience of the people engaged in this service. The government has the solution. One must ask oneself, are you fulfilling your duties and responsibilities to the country?
An event was held in Colombo today to mark International Nurses Day.
The event was organised by the Government Nursing Officers Association. In some countries, nurses receive better salaries than doctors. They are given more training and greater prominence. The situation in our country is also changing. The nursing service has come up to a degree awarding level. We need to accept the responsibilities of nursing staff also increases with this. You are gathered here not representing a political party or with a political agenda. You are here to represent the GNOA. We first tackled smoking and we got the 80% warning labels on it. We increased the taxes to 90%. That is the highest amount of taxes imposed on tobacco in the world. No one was able to do this. The head of the international company came running to Sri Lanka, met with members of the cabinet and asked what the health minister was doing. They said that the profit was only 1% and if they are taxed, they will have to shut down. However, we had a president who said he didn't come here to maintain tobacco companies or use taxes from tobacco to balance the budget. He said he came here to save people of this country from smoking and said if you want to shut down, you can do so. The president supported me in cabinet. They didn't shut down, but smoking decreased by 47%. We were able to reduce the prices of drugs. We were arguing for 45 years to reduce the prices of drugs. We came to this very location every year to commemorate Professor Senaka Bibile. Our president tried to do something, but the then president thwarted his efforts.
අපේ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට ගැහුවා. ඒ ඔක්කොම විනාශ කරා. එදා හිටපු ජනාධිපතිවරයා.
හෙද සේවාවේ කටයුතු කරන
I have never heard complaints that people working in the nursing service do so for the money or go over to other institutions after working hours to earn money.
කිසි විටක මගේ කනට නම් වැටිලා නැහැ.
One of the greatest challenges we face as a government and a country is the talent in our country is going abroad. Doctors, nursing staff leave the country. We cannot control it. As a result, the health services are facing a crisis. We don't have 50% of the specialist doctors we require. We have a nursing staff of 30,000, but we need a further 10,000 so that you can do your job easily. I don't think any other country has a constitution which allows intellectuals and professionals to freely leave the country. We have this problem in the country when it comes to doctors, engineers and nurses.
සීමාවකින් තොරව රටින්
President of Nepal, Bindya Devi Bandari, arrived in the island to participate as chief guest at the closing ceremony of the 14th UN International Vesak Day celebrations. President Bandari was welcomed by Ministers Vijayadasa Rajapaksa and Thalata Tukorala. The Nepalese president paid homage to the temple of the Sacred Tooth relic in Kandy and participated in a cultural performance at the Nelum Pukuna Theatre. Day 2 of the World Buddhist Summit took place at the BMICH in Colombo today, and the closing ceremony will take place in Kandy tomorrow. Bindya Devi Bandari was elected as President of Nepal in 2015, and she is the country's first female to be elected as President. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe landed in Beijing, China today to attend the One Belt, One Road Summit.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and his delegation arrived at Beijing Capital International Airport this evening. The Prime Minister was received at the airport by political advisor of Beijing, Li Changyu, Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Yi Jiangliang, and Sri Lankan ambassador in China, Dr. Karunasena Kuritwakku. The Sri Lankan delegation includes Ministers Dr. Sarath Amunugama, Rauf Hakim, Sagala Ratnayaka, Malik Samaravikrama, Secretary to the President Saman Nekanayaka, Additional Secretary Saman Ataudahetti, Director of East Asia and Southeast Asia region of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Savitri Panaboke. The One Belt, One Road Summit will begin tomorrow under the patronage of Chinese President Xi Jinping. On the sidelines of the summit, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe will meet and hold bilateral discussions with the President of China, Prime Minister Li Keqiang, and several other heads of states.
It was back in the year 2013, according to a concept of President of China Xi Jinping, that the whole One Belt, One Road initiative was put forward in order to connect through trade and infrastructure development Asia, Europe and Africa. Well, here we are today in Beijing in order to start off proceedings with the One Belt, One Road International Conference, which will be taking place in this very place, Beijing. Well, in line with the conference, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe arrived here this afternoon along with his delegation, and we were told that 30 leaders will be taking part in this international conference. And also on a notable figure, several world organizations including United Nations and International Monetary Fund representatives will be taking part in this international conference, One Belt, One Road. So we will be bringing you all the information as and when we receive it here from Beijing on the One Belt, One Road initiative. Signing out from the Newsfirst team, I'm Zola Outskoon for News First.
Thank you, Joel, for that comprehensive update. Also in local news, State Minister Sujiva Senasinghe says he has not received due appreciation from the present government. Senasinghe made these remarks at an event held in Kolonava today. State Minister Sujiva Senasinghe initiated another phase of the Training of Self-Employed Women program, which is sponsored through allocations made for him.
You all know that during the election campaign, I had a key position on the campaign stage. I put my life at risk and undertook a major task to topple the government. Although I fulfilled that task, some question now why I am not present in the media. I have been given the position of State Minister at a ministry, and at times I am unable to do as much work as the peon there. My state ministerial position has been gazetted as a position for conflict resolution. There are no powers. Someone asked me whether I would cross over to the opposition someday because I am not appreciated. I said that even if I am killed or even if I am given the most powerful position in the world, I will engage in politics in line with my principles. The day that I think I cannot do this, I will leave. But I will never change parties or commit actions that betray my principles, no matter how I am treated. I am engaged in politics with the UNP in line with my principles. If I am not treated well, then all I can do is leave. I will not hesitate to make that decision. If I was engaged in the legal profession today, I would have had the opportunity to become a President's Counsel today. I lost that opportunity because of politics. The President said a decision has been made that cabinet ministers will not be appointed as President's Counsels. I said that this too is an injustice. You may be the first in Colombo or second in Colombo, but you have to accept what the leaders give you. We hope that this government will take benefit from us as well. We do not have much work to do. Even if a committee is appointed, we are not included. I am the president of the Public Service Trade Union, but when they are holding talks about strikes, I am not included in the committee. But I will not cut off my nose because I am angry at the face. These leaders know that we have the ability, but the leaders also have people that they favor. They have their favorites, but they cannot take away our talent and our courage.
Sunil Sukeso Kanchana Patnta Visuddha Lalato Osadhi Pandara Sundha Suunno Isai Tuih Pita Narasi.
Well, that was a glimpse of the Sir John Keells International Vesak Zone, which began on Vesak Poe Day. The Sir John Keells International Vesak Zone, which celebrated the birth, enlightenment and parinibbana of Lord Buddha, concluded early this morning. Devotees flocked in their thousands to the Sir John Keells Vesak Zone to worship the sacred relics and the relics of the Arahats. The three-day Vesak Zone, which commenced on the Poe Day, concluded early this morning, giving an opportunity for all the visiting devotees to worship the sacred relics. Traditional rituals were observed this morning prior to the departure of the sacred relics. The sacred relics and the relics of 18 Arahats were brought to the Nelligala International Buddhist Center. The sacred relics found in the Sandagiri Saya in Tissa Maharame also departed this morning. The relic of Arahat Mahinda was taken in procession from the Sir John Keells International Vesak Zone to the sacred grounds of Mihintale. The relics of the Arahats Sariputta and Moggallana departed for their home at the Mahabodhi Agrashavaka Mahaviharya in Malika Khanda. The sacred relics were returned to their respective viharas today.
The relics were placed at the sacred chambers of the Nelligala International Buddhist Center. The Mahasangha, including Waturakumbure Dhammaratana Thera and area residents, received the relics in great devotion. Handing over of the sacred relics at the Tissa Maharama Raja Mahavihara took place this afternoon. The relics were handed over to the hands of Venerable Dr. Devalagama Dhammasila, giving an end to this great meritorious deed. It is with great pleasure that I inform that the Sirasa John Keel's International Vesak Zone, which was held for the 7th consecutive time, concluded in a grand scale. I wish to thank and invoke blessings on all who helped in this endeavour.
A memorial event was held today to commemorate 2 leaders who contributed to the UN recognizing the International Day of Vesak.
Floral tributes were laid this morning at the statue of Professor Gunapala Malalasekara, who took the first step in making the Vesak Poe Day an international holiday. Members of the Sangha and the laity, including Minister of Justice and Buddha Sasana Vijaydas Rajapaksha, attended the event. Floral tributes were also laid today at the statue of former Foreign Minister Lakshman Kadragama, who rendered a yeoman service in making the UN International Day of Vesak a reality. In 1951, a prominent intellectual in this country, Professor Malalasekara, was the first person to put forth the idea at the World Buddhist Summit that the UN must recognize Vesak as an international celebration. The dream of 1951, the dream of the Buddhists, was made a reality by another prominent intellectual and leader, Minister Lakshman Kadirgamar, who was the foreign minister. His international recognition and intellect, his personality, all these factors contributed to the adoption of the resolution in 1999. Although he was not a Buddhist, these leaders became symbols of national reconciliation. We must not forget them. There are many lessons to be learned from them for the present and the future.
Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Dr. Harsha De Silva says that Sri Lanka will receive the benefits of GSP Plus within the next 2 weeks.
This application was submitted in July 2016. In January, the European Commission proposed to grant GSP Plus concessions to Sri Lanka. However, a proposal was submitted to the European Parliament not to grant these concessions. It was defeated. Then the European Council of Ministers decided to grant GSP Plus to Sri Lanka. It was a unanimous decision by all 28 ministers. In 2 weeks, we will be able to export 6,600 items to 28 European countries without taxes.
GSP Plus සහනය මේ ආණ්ඩුවත් එක්ක ජනතාවට මුක්ති විඳින ඉන්න පුළුවන් හැකියාවක් ලැබෙයිද මේ වෙනකොට ඉස්සරහට
අපිට කොහොමද ජනතාව වරමක් ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා 2000
We have received a democratic mandate till 2020. I have no ability to predict the future, nor am I a soothsayer. The people will decide when the election is announced. I hope by then we will be able to raise the economy out of this current state and fulfill the promises that we made. That path is now open. I believe that people would not view this with jealousy.
A petition filed at the Supreme Court citing a loss of a revenue of 3 billion rupees for the government as a result of the sale of the permits for duty-free vehicles by MPs on the open market was taken up again yesterday. The petitioner, Nagananda Kodituaku, a lawyer practicing in Sri Lanka and the UK, has called for an investigation into the failure of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery and corruption to enforce the law in the matter of the sale of these permits by MPs when they are intended to enable MPs to carry out their duties and functions effectively. Now, Kodituaku says that as the sale of these duty-free vehicles permits to third parties is a criminal offence, the law must be enforced as such.
මේ අධිකරණයේ දැනට ගොනු කර ඇති නඩුව මන්ත්‍රීවරුන් විසින් මේ තීරුබදු රහිතව
The case that has been filed relates to parliamentarians selling their duty-free vehicle permits in the open market and causing 7 billion rupees in losses to the government. I am the complainant of this case. I have received information from time to time. and yesterday I produced a list of 100 MPs to court. These MPs have imported vehicles using the permits given to them and registered the vehicles under a third party. This indicates the collapse of the rule of law in the country. That is why I produced this document to court yesterday.
සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ගරාවැටීම පැහැදිලිවම පෙනී යන කාරණයක් ඒක අධිකරණයේ ගොනු කළා. ඒක තමයි ඊයේ ලේඛනයේ අධිකරණයේ ලොකුරු කාට සිද්ධ වුණේ.
A list of MPs obtained under the Right to Information Act was also submitted in court today by Nagananda Kodituakku. According to the list, the duty-free vehicle permits of 92 MPs have been sold on the open market to third parties. The list reveals that MPs of the joint opposition have also sold their duty-free vehicle permits for millions of rupees.
In a backdrop where the National Audit Bill, which was something that was promised within the first 100 days of the Yahapalana government, being delayed day by day, steps were taken to illegally transfer chartered accountants attached to a number of ministries. These steps were initiated because they have failed to become tools of politicians. The Sri Lanka Accountants Service Association, which managed to stop these illegal transfers, have informed the Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration and Management that efforts are underway once again to illegally transfer a number of chartered accountants. One such attempt is being made against the Chief Accountant of the Ministry of Rural Economy. In addition to this position, he also holds the post of Deputy Director of the Anti-Corruption Committee Secretariat. Based on a complaint lodged with the Anti-Corruption Secretariat, the Police FCID sent this letter to the Secretary of the Ministry of Rural Economy with regard to the misuse of fuel during the previous administration. The names of former Minister Arumugam Tondaman and the NLDB have been linked to these complaints. The NLDB currently comes under the purview of the Ministry of Rural Economy. Approval for the fuel misuse, which amounts to 4.5 million rupees, has been granted by H.L. Tissera, the former Additional Secretary attached to the Ministry of Livestock and Rural Community Development. H.L. Tissera, who is currently retired, serves as an advisor of Minister P. Harrison and earns a monthly wage of 75,000 rupees and also receives a government vehicle with fuel. Minister P. Harrison, who retains the services of an individual who is connected to approving a fuel misappropriation of 4.5 million rupees, is forcing the transfer of the ministry's chief accountant, stating that he is unfit to hold his position in the Anti-Corruption Secretariat as well. However, another misappropriation, this too linked to fuel, is currently taking place, and Minister P. Harrison is also linked to this. Action TV will reveal more details tomorrow.
The police are investigating an attempted grenade attack on the premises of the Sri Lanka Medical Council last night. Police say the investigation is being supervised by a Senior Deputy Inspector General.
A hand grenade was thrown into the premises of the Sri Lanka Medical Council on Norris Canal Road. However, the grenade failed to detonate. Security guards had informed the police of the discovery via the 119 emergency hotline early this morning. The police secured the scene, following which a court order was obtained to remove the grenade with the assistance of the police special task force. Police say the grenade was defused at the Grand Pass Public Cemetery. This is the third attack on the Medical Council. Another bomb attack took place prior to this. If I am correct, in 2012, a bomb attack took place at the residence of Specialist Dr. Lalanta Wanasinghe, the Vice President of the Medical Council. Over the past few days, they had come to the home of the Registrar and damaged his vehicle. We have informed the police and the Inspector General of Police of all these incidents. Police said that the explosive device thrown at the premises of the Medical Council was an M4 type hand grenade. While the reason for the attack has not been uncovered, the Colombo Crimes Division is investigating the incident under the orders and instructions of the Senior DIG for Crime and Traffic in the Western Province, Nandana Munasinghe.
Meanwhile, the Government Medical Officers Association convened a media briefing today to comment on the grenade attack on the Sri Lanka Medical Council.
We need to find out who is responsible for this and arrest them. This is an attack on the patient's rights. This cannot be allowed to take place. If the government and the police do not take the necessary steps in this regard, we will take a decision during our Central Committee meeting on the 20th of this month. We will also discuss the immediate steps to be taken on the 15th when the Executive Committee meets.
The 27th model village constructed under the Recommence Gamudao program to the Samata 7 initiative was visited with the public today. The village located in Samanabad, the Ampara, was declared open by Minister Sajith Premadasa.
Comprised of 25 houses, the village is named Mahatisigama. The minister also presented housing aid to 550 villagers. They wanted us to raise black flags as a mark of protest against the visit of the Indian Prime Minister. But they failed to say that India made massive investments in the country. The people who wanted to raise black flags were seen at BMICH speaking fondly with Prime Minister Modi. What kind of politics is this?
But that's a wrap from the News First team for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.